A wealthy mom tried to take advantage of me for free childcare by consistently showing up late for my class's pickup time, then lied to my boss to get me in trouble. Posted by you/acceptable war 5433. I, 24M, teach boxing in my spare time, and one day a week, I teach it to kids. There's a mom who I feel is starting to take advantage of these classes. She's increasingly late picking up her kid after the session. To give some context, this is a wealthy woman. It's not that she's out working a job, she's a stay-at-home parent with no other kids. She told me all this because another thing she loves to do is have really long conversations with me, on top of already being late. She's been late most of March, 3 classes. I talked to her about it at the end of the month, and she apologized, saying it wouldn't happen again. But it did. Twice now. So, I started timing her. The second week of April, no class the first week, she arrived 45 minutes late, then spent another 20 minutes talking to me. The other day, I timed her again, she arrived around the 1-hour mark. I made a point to show her my timer and gave her a warning that I would remove her kid from my class. She tried to derail the conversation, so I raised the timer and turned it on again. She said I was being unjustifiably rude, her exact words. I explained, politely, that I have other obligations and that her consistent lateness throws off my schedule. She didn't want to have the conversation and stomped to the driver's side of her car. Her kid lowered the window to say thank you and bye to me. I told him bye and added, tell your mom to stop being late. She reported our conversation to my boss but twisted it. She claimed I threatened her kid with getting kicked out of the program. I didn't say it like that. I didn't even say it to her kid. I was just implying, to her, that I wouldn't have him in my group. My boss still gave me a lecture about how I don't have that authority and can't make the statements I did. He went over professionalism and said I'm being too hard on this mom, who could have other circumstances going on. But I'm not getting paid for the hour after class that I spend hanging out with her kid. The kid's great, but I have things to do. For people who work with kids, what's the etiquette here? Do I give parents grace? I told my boss I'm going to start adding up all the hours, and one of them is going to have to pay me. Am I the jerk here? Relevant comments. Commenter. I have a 9-year-old, and any activities she's involved in have very clear boundaries and rules about late pickup. In some situations, late pickup incurs a daily childcare fee. Some places treat a late pickup of over 10 to 15 minutes very seriously, almost like abandonment. They'll call and text the parent for urgent, immediate pickup and may notify administration or even cancel the child's classes. I recommend keeping all communication in writing, such as texts or emails. Go to your boss for advice, they must have a policy about this, right? If your boss doesn't want to be firm with her, that's fine, but ask who will be watching the child, as you need to leave at your scheduled time. Ops response. See, that's how it should be. Unfortunately, I don't think my boss has any policy around it, judging from the way our conversation went. If this continues to be an issue, I'm going to push for compensation since his approach currently has me taking responsibility for it. I'll send an email to him to clarify so I have some kind of written response. Commenter 2. Is there a reason you can't just turn the kid over to whoever is at the front desk? Or can't call CPS when it's an hour late and the mom still hasn't arrived? Or that your gym doesn't have a written policy on late pickup times? Ops response. There is no front desk. I didn't want to immediately escalate to CPS or the cops before making some attempts to contact the mom. The lack of policy is definitely an issue that I am now going to push to address or seek further information about. Update 10 days later. I appreciate the advice I received on the post I made and learned a lot from you. Here's the update. I took various notes from the people who gave me tips here and wrote a detailed email to my boss, CCing other people who run the program, including co-instructors. I did this for transparency, accountability, and to put pressure on my boss to create a policy around the issue instead of dealing with us all individually on a case-by-case basis. My boss didn't respond to the email. Instead, he called me in to see him. I kind of had a feeling he'd do that. He asked me why I sent the email and CC'd everyone, and he was clearly unhappy with my approach. He kept trying to minimize the situation and make me feel like I was in the wrong. He told me I was being greedy, that my attitude about one parent being late was exaggerated, and that I was looking for problems. Essentially, he said I should just wait around after hours, unpaid, if needed because it's a program for kids. I should do it with some heart and do it for the kids. I had to turn my face to hide the fact that I wanted to laugh in that moment. But mostly, I was frustrated. Having proper policies in place not only protects the staff but also the kids, not to mention his business. After I made my perspective clear, in a mostly professional manner, he came around a little. Unfortunately, he flat out told me he would not back pay me for the time I've logged waiting for this mom, but he would implement a late policy moving forward. He has followed through on that. He also tried to throw in other useless incentives for me, but I didn't accept them. That mom wasn't late this week. She did try to catch my eye when she picked her son up, and I ignored her. She ended up getting out of her car and asked me if I saw her waving. I kept ignoring her, but she wore me down because she kept following me around while I locked up. I informed her why she's getting the silent treatment. She apologized and also tried to write me a check on the spot. I didn't take the money. I told her, honestly, I might quit instead. I'm sharing this because the woman clearly lives in her own world. Here, just take my money and stop being mad at me. I was so furious. It took everything in me to keep my words to a minimum. I'm on the fence about just letting this go. Maybe the program will get smoother with time. It's not a lot of money worth fighting over, but I'm so disappointed in my boss. I've known him for a long time as a mentor and friend. Being his employee has been something else. The program itself is very new and disorganized, and due to differences of opinion about how it's run, I doubt I will stay with it. This is my first time working a job that involves kids. My actual profession is unrelated to boxing. This was something I picked up spontaneously because I saw the merit in it and wanted to do my part to help. I admit I could use the extra money too. I don't mean to be greedy or stingy, but I live in an insanely expensive city and take care of someone with costly medical bills. I haven't proofread this, but it looks longer than I wanted it to be. I'm sorry. Relevant comments. Commenter. You handled this well, but holding on to your anger seems immature. Your boss implemented policies to prevent the exploitation of his workers, at least in this instance. You twisted his arm and forced him to do it. You should be proud of that. Your difficult customer found out that her kid's boxing instructor implemented a late policy, and she knows it was because of her. She is probably humiliated. Your boss didn't offer you back pay, but the difficult customer tried to. Whatever effort she was making to get your attention, it was an opportunity for you to listen to what she had to say and to explain, professionally, what you had tried to communicate before. You could have accepted the check or talked to her but refused the check if you wanted to make a point. Your boss should have offered you back pay, but he should have collected it from her. She tried to bypass the middleman. I understand that you're upset, but at this point, it seems like you're refusing to acknowledge that you won. If you hate your job so much, then quit. However, you're wrong if you think things are perfect elsewhere. At least with this employer, you were able to resolve this conflict peacefully and with an outcome that solved your problem. Ops response. I wouldn't say I'm angry about the situation. I think I'm mostly frustrated with my boss's approach to dealing with issues. It's hard to convey all of it in writing, but he's extremely stubborn and hard-headed. He takes unnecessary offense to constructive feedback and then holds grudges. Getting him to do anything is always more difficult than it needs to be. He will try to bulldoze you, and there's always friction no matter what you suggest. It shouldn't have to be like that. I think I'm coming to terms with the realization that he's a great friend and mentor but a terrible person to collaborate with or do business with. I wish he had taken what I said more seriously instead of focusing so much on this being an isolated issue, when it could easily happen again with another parent. Even though he's implemented the new policies, he's acting as if he did me a favor. The person I was angry at is the mom, because of the way she talked to me and threw money at me. There was no understanding. She was so quick to report me to my boss and twist my words last week, and this week she's at pickup trying to flag me down to chat like it never happened. The entitlement of this woman. She can't stand being ignored. And when I reminded her of what she did, she acted as if it was just a money problem. Who cares about the appointments I was late for and the trouble she caused me? She can write me a check right now and order me to stop being mad at her. It definitely rubbed me the wrong way. I absolutely hear you, though. Thank you. Commenter 2. You'd be making the right call to cut your losses and see this as a learning opportunity for what is not only intolerable but most likely illegal. I can't think of any state where you would be expected to continue working without pay. I'd go as far as to suggest reporting the hours you were unpaid to the labor board in your state if you were in the US. You are being taken advantage of here, but you already know that. Do what's best for you. I'm not only suggesting making the report so you get paid but also to put this business on notice. You probably aren't the only person they will try to exploit this way, especially after you've left, and having that record is important to show a pattern of behavior on the business owner's part. Ops response. The reason I hesitate to report my boss is that I have a personal relationship with him and almost everyone in the program. It's an independent gym. What you're saying is what I would have done under other circumstances, but I just can't do that to them. I would end up burning a lot of bridges. I'm better off trying to hash it out with my boss or, in the worst case, just walking away. Commenter's response. It sounds like your boss used the personal relationship to manipulate you, especially if it's currently influencing you not to report what he did, making you work however many hours without pay because the mom was late, to the proper labor authorities, as it's illegal. And it's not just about you. I wonder how many others have been influenced to go along with illegal practices like that simply because there's a personal relationship, and the boss asked them to suck it up. Second update 12 days later. I got other instructors to back me up and confront my boss with me. I also informed him that I'd have to quit the kids class, and the adult training I do, or leave the gym and our friendship entirely if he didn't hear me out respectfully. The reason I wanted to avoid reporting my boss is because I've had a relationship with him and nearly everyone at this gym for almost 10 years. I didn't want to resort to filing a report without exploring every other option first. My boss caved. I'll be paid for the extra hours I logged in my next paycheck. Moving forward, I'll no longer teach the kids class. Although we have a late pickup policy and fee in place, instructors are still required to stay until the last kid is picked up, and my boss isn't willing to negotiate on that. I can't stay behind after classes because I have other obligations on the same day. It's unfortunate, especially since only one parent is currently abusing the system simply because she can afford to. That mom was late again this week, by 30 minutes. I showed her my timer and told her I've quit. She asked if the late warnings reset when a new instructor takes over. They don't. She then tried to hire me privately as her kid's instructor. I said no, but I might reconsider if she ever wants lessons. I'd love to give that woman hell. Alright, that's that. I feel bad that I couldn't stick it out with the kids program, but it's too disorganized for me right now. Relevant comments. Commenter. Sounds like she has zero respect for anyone else's time. Sure, who doesn't love money? But my time is money, and I value my time a lot more than her money. Good call not working for her, who knows what kind of hell she would put you through. People with money know that money talks, and most will take it. When you don't, out of principle, they just can't understand it. Ops response. People like her ruin it for other parents, and my boss refuses to implement a condition like, X amount of lates will result in your kid being dropped from the class. Third update 8 months later. Hey, so it's been a long time. I deleted the original posts from my page, hoping the messages about it would stop. But now I have this update. Is it allowed? I don't remember the etiquette here. The short version, you guys were right, this woman had a crush on me or at least some kind of interest, and I was too angry at her / the situation to notice. We're seeing each other now. I won't get your hopes up because it's probably just temporary. Longer story, toward the end of last year, she approached me. She said she was separating from her husband and hinted that the marriage was abusive. She said her reason for getting in touch with me was to take me up on my offer to teach her how to box. I told her I had only offered, back then, so I could make her suffer. The thing is, I don't think joining a combat sport immediately as a way to process abuse is always the best course of action. I get why it's empowering, but if you're not doing therapy or something alongside it, it might frame things for you in an unhealthy way. So I think you need both. That's just my personal opinion. I felt ill-equipped to be the starting point of her healing or whatever, even though she was reaching out to me so sincerely. So I redirected her to someone else. She started going to the classes I connected her with and occasionally texted me about them, straightforward texts, questions, asking my opinion, etc. We'd have short exchanges, a few texts back and forth, with no pattern and a lot of gaps in between. About a week ago, I ran into her in person, and she convinced me to have coffee with her. I don't know how to explain it. There's some kind of intensity between us, and we decided to see where it leads. It's not serious. Given how many people thought something was there and how oblivious I was to it, I felt this might be worth sharing. I didn't know her age back then, but I found out she's 32. I'm 25. I know. Relevant comments. Commenter. Dude, don't do this. A rebound relationship after a failed marriage that was possibly, allegedly abusive? And she's a single mom. Plus the age gap. Come on. Ops response. I get it, but I'm not trying to be in a relationship, and that's clear between us. Commenter 2. From the old posts, it seems Op lives in an expensive city, could use extra money, which is why he was doing that extra job, and he was taking care of someone with expensive medical bills. I wonder if Op suffered a loss of that person, and it made him even more self-sabotagey. Something changed. He is not caring about himself anymore. He also seems like someone who avoids getting close to others emotionally or is emotionally guarded. Op's response. Something like that.